Here is the world news from BGI TV, Baba Gbadede Imo TV. It's another time again to bring to you what we have as news. I am yours faithfully, and first are the major headlines. Omicron UK red listing Nigeria is unjust, discriminatory, Lai Mohammed. Travel ban, Tomari goes emotional, says Nigeria paying for overlooking errors of omission. Senate blames deplorable army barracks on insurgency, banditry. Nnamdi Kanu stabbing in DSS facility, younger brother raises alarm. Man sentenced to 6 months in prison for stealing rice, spaghetti, drinks worth 4,560 naira. And to foreign, Kenyan policeman shot dead 6 people, including wife, AFP news agency. And to sports, why Ian Acho has not been playing regularly, Leicester City Blues. I am yours faithfully, Morire Rabilawal. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, has condemned the red listing of Nigeria by the UK government over the 2 cases of the Omicron variant of COVID-19. Speaking at a news conference in Abuja, Mr. Mohammed described the decision as unjust and discriminatory. The minister has, however, called on the UK government to rescind the decision immediately. Also discussed at the summit is the way forward as regard an upscale of the current responses to the pandemic, including ongoing mass vaccination, surveillance, and screening at the various points of entry. Lai Mohammed's comments are the latest reactions to the red listing, which has continued to stir debates in Nigeria and across the world. Earlier, the Minister of Health, Dr. Osagi Ehanire, expressed disappointment over the United Kingdom government's placement of Nigeria on its red list following the detection of the COVID-19 Omicron variants. According to the minister, the move was ill-advised. He further noted that it would have multiple impacts on commerce and disrupt activities during the Xmas festivity. The management of the National Assembly has said the federal government's order that all civil servants must be vaccinated before accessing their offices cannot be implemented at the legislative complex. This is just as safety protocols have been relaxed at the National Assembly. The Director of Information, Mr. Rollins Agada, who spoke to the press on Monday, noted that restriction of access to the premises would cause chaos as workers were only a percentage of the population of the National Assembly community. Information gathered that the Presidential Steering Committee on COVID-19, led by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, announced in October, declared that civil servants without proof of vaccination and negative coronavirus test will not be allowed to access government buildings from December 1st, 2021. Also, reports observed that workers have continued to gain unhindered access to the National Assembly. It was observed that despite the outbreak of Omicron, the lawmakers have also shunned safety protocols. Also, automatic hand sanitizer dispensers were mounted at strategic locations around the building. Some of these protocols have been shown since the Parliament resumed in September, and especially during the budget defense session with ministries, departments, and agencies on the 2022 appropriation bill. The family of Sylvester Oromoni Jr., the late 12-year-old Dowen College student, has hired the firm of a foremost human rights lawyers and activist, Femi Falana, to prosecute its case against the institution over the death of their son. Information obtained the letter written by Falana to the office of Lagos State Chief Coroner, requesting an inquest into the circumstances leading to the death of his client's child. The letter was dated December 6, 2021, signed by Taiwo Olawale and addressed to the Chief Coroner, High Court of Lagos State. The letter titled Request for Inquest into the Tragic Death of Sylvester Oromoni, killed at Dowen College, Lekki, Lagos, said that based on the briefings by the family, The late student died as a result of injuries allegedly inflicted on him by his seniors at the school. Given the needless death of Sylvester Oromoni, we are compelled to request you to use your good offices to cause a coroner's inquest to be conducted into the cause of death of this young and promising boy and make appropriate recommendations. We hereby request your lordship to conduct an inquest into the circumstance surrounding this tragic death, and we are confident that your lordship will accede to our request with utmost urgency. The COVID-19 pandemic and other disease outbreaks in Nigeria are nothing compared to the real enemies of the country, said Professor Oyewale Tomori. Tomori, a professor of virology, stated this on Monday at the National COVID-19 Summit organized by the Presidential Steering Committee, PSC, in Abuja. COVID-19 is not the enemy. Lassa fever is of minor league. Yellow fever is yellow-livered. Monkeypox is child's play. Cholera is a dehydrator, he told the audience at the summit. Our underdevelopment and backwardness rest on 4 pillars. They are the real enemies of our nation. According to the virologists, these diseases have become the combined endemic demolisher of the foundation of the individual health security over the last 60 years. He added that they have shaken the foundation of the nation's health security and in turn determine the country's irrelevance in contributing meaningfully to global health security. He stated that the first epidemic authorities must address was the particular one affecting the culture and through identity of the people as Nigerians. He called for a nation where national interests would bury self-interest, saying the summit would become a mirage and a vapor if that was not the case. Tomori stressed the need to build back better on the nation's culture. Residents of Onitsha in Anambra State on Monday lamented the effect of the sit-at-home order imposed by the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra in the southeast. Although IPOB had suspended the order, information gathered that round the major street of Onitsha on Monday observed that schools, markets, banks, offices, and motor parks were shut while major roads were deserted. School children were seen playing football on the streets as people gathered around their business premises without opening. Banks did not also open for business as well. Some residents lamented the devastating effect of the exercise on their means of livelihood. They called for its definitive stoppage at the Yuletide season approach. The chairman, Obuka Obusi Market Association Chief Osita Ude, who spoke to the journalists on ground, said although IPOB had reversed the order, inadequate security, lack of awareness, and fear of attack had made the people to continue to observe it. Another resident, Esther Udo, who works in Oka, said she could not access her workplace on Mondays as a result of absence of transportation. The Senate has attributed the poor state of army barracks across the country to the ongoing wars against insurgency and banditry. The Senate Committee on the Army states this after it visited some military formations in Plateau and Bauchi states to carry out some oversight activities. The chairman of the Senate panel, Senator Ali Ndume, told journalists after the visit that money that should have been used to fix the barracks were being paid as allowances to the personnel who were participating in the wars against insurgency and banditry. He said effort would be made by the 2 chambers of the National Assembly to ensure that more money was appropriated for the renovation of old barracks as well as possible construction of new ones. We assess the implementation of the 2021 budget meant for the renovation of old barracks in the barracks and the new ones being built. We are impressed about the quality of the jobs done and the speed at which they are being delivered. He added, we went on oversight activities to see the conditions of the barracks as well as assess the implementation of the 2021 budget of the Army regarding some capital projects. The leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, has alleged that he is being denied food in the facility of the Department of State Service, DSS. Kanu is currently detained in the facility of the DSS on the order of Justice Binta Murtala Inyako, led federal government High Court in Abuja on the treasonable felony charges preferred against him by the federal government of Nigeria. However, disclosing the alleged ill treatment by the Department of the State Service in a text statement forwarded to the press on Monday, the younger brother to the secessionist leader, Prince Kanu Meme, also claimed that the Nigerian Secret Police has denied him his medical report after taking his blood for more than 21 times. Prince Kanu Meme was on a routine visit to the detained separatist leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. The pro-Biafra leader regretted the action of the DSS despite several court pronouncements ordering the Nigerian government to make available to him the medical reports. Prince added DSS had also denied him his medical report after taking his blood for 21 times. They have continuously disobeyed all the court's orders. As Christmas is approaching, beautiful decorations have started appearing in major cities. However, one other thing that has started appearing are long queues at filling stations, as the federal government's mall removal of controversial fuel subsidy. Filling stations in Abuja have started having long queues in their stations. Muhammadu Buhari's administration has struggled to deal with fuel subsidy. Several times, the government had announced the removal of the subsidy regime, only to make a U-turn and continue to pay subsidies, which is now called under recovery. In 2016, the government had announced the removal of the subsidy regime when NNPC became the sole importer of petrol. Those changed subsidy to under recovery. However, the price of PMS was jacked up to 144 naira per litre from 93 naira per litre. A 29-year-old laborer, thank God, Paul, has been sentenced to 6 months imprisonment by an Ile-Ife magistrate for breaking in and stealing goods worth 4,560 naira. He was convicted for stealing rice worth 1,000 naira, 2 bottles of Biggie Cola with 300 naira, 2 bottles of 7-Up drink with 400 naira, a packet of spaghetti worth 400 naira, and 5 places of Maggie's soap with 500 naira. Delivering a judgment, Magistrate Oluwatosin Adediwura sentenced him to 6 months imprisonment with an option of fine of 1 month of community service. The convict had earlier pleaded guilty to charges of breaking in and stealing and prayed for leniency. And to foreign story. A police officer in Kenya shot dead his wife and 5 other people with AK-47 in the early hours of Tuesday morning, officials said. A neighbor heard a loud bang from the officer's home at 1 a.m. local time, according to police reports. The policeman then went on what officials are calling a shooting spree in Kabete, near the capital Nairobi, killing 5 others. The officer later took his own life, a police statement also revealed. The motive behind the killings is unclear, but police said the couple had been feuding, according to the AFP news agency. You've been watching the world news from BGI TV, and finally, sport news. Leicester City manager Brendan Rodgers has explained why Kelechi Iheanacho has been struggling for regular playing times this season. Iheanacho, City's top scorer last season, has played just 54 minutes of football in their past 6 games in all competitions, with 3 of those spent watching from the substitute bench. Before that, he played some part in every fixture, bar the away game at the Legia Warsaw, in which he was halted at the Polish border because of mismatching documents. The switch to a 4-2-3-1 system has been the big factor in his limited pitch time, with Rodgers suggesting he is best as part of a striker pairing. Rodgers has said he prefers City to play with 4 at the back and so to then field 2 front men. He would either have to pick a flat 4-4-2 or a midfield diamond. The former was used at Crystal Palace in October and has not been seen since. Iheanacho scored 16 goals between February and May last season, usually playing alongside Jamie Vardy to finish as the club's top scorer. That was the world news from BGI TV, but before we go, a quick take of the headlines once again. Omicron, UK red listing Nigeria is unjust, discriminatory, like Mohammed. Travel ban, Tomori goes emotional, says Nigeria paying for overlooking errors of omission. Senate blames deplorable army barracks on insurgency and banditry. Nnamdi Kanu stabbing in DSS facility, younger brother raises alarm. Man sentenced to 6 months in prison for stealing rice, spaghetti, drinks worth 4,650 naira. Foreign, Kenya policeman shot dead 6 people, including wife, AFP news agency. And to sports, we brought to you why Kelechi Iheanacho has not been playing regularly, Leicester boss Rogers says. Thank you for watching. You can link up for more updates of our broadcast on YouTube by Gbagede Imo TV. Kindly subscribe and click on the notification bell for updates of our broadcast. On Facebook, Gbagede Imo with Alawiye Adebayo. Please like and follow. On Instagram, Gbagede Imo _22. For other placement of your goods and services and products, and for coverage of your event and function or royal gathering, please call the phone number 070-3822-6160. I am yours faithfully, Morire Repilalawa. Good evening.